Hey there, LEGO fans and Potterheads. I'm the lawyer in the LEGO shed, and this is the 7th in a series of videos that I'll be making over the course of this year as I build my way through the magical world of LEGO Harry Potter. I've been collecting Harry Potter LEGO since the line started back in 2001 with the release of the very first movie. And for this video series, I will be building sets that have been part of the more recent waves of Harry Potter, starting in 2018 and stopping with the 2023 releases. My plan is to go in movie order as best as I can, so without further ado, let's get started. Our fourth set is none other than Gringotts. This is part 2 of set number 76417, the Gringotts Wizarding Bank. Part 1 focused on the underground portion, and part 2 is focusing on the above ground portion here. And this set being so large, we're kind of focusing now on our street level view. And this particular portion occupies third and fourth instruction booklets in the set itself, and is the setting for kind of two main scenes. We saw imagery from the scene from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which I dropped in the first one. This time I'll drop in the scene from the first movie, which is the one that is really kind of focused, for the minifigs at least, on this set.
Well, there's your money, Harry. Gringotts, the Wizard Bank. Take no safer place, not one, except perhaps Hogwarts.
Hagrid? What exactly are these things?
They're goblins, Harry. Clever as they come, goblins, but not the most friendly of beasts. Best stay close.
This set was released in 2023. It has 4,803 pieces, and there, I think, was a lot to love about this set. I've changed next to nothing as far as kind of structurally. I made a few slight adjustments that you can kind of see. I'm awaiting an exact copy of this front window here, but I'm going to have windows on all sides. I know that's not directly movie accurate, but it definitely broke up a lot of that kind of heavy white there, just to kind of make it feel a little bit more real. And then, of course, as many of you know, the very controversial inclusion of the kerning problem within Gringotts. I broke a cardinal rule for the first time in my entire LEGO experience, and I cut my stickers so that the Gringotts sign could look a little bit more natural as opposed to the way it does here, which I'll show a quick picture of. You can see here that unsightly gap, which I have resolved by going ahead and trimming my stickers here in order to make it work. Things that I loved, obviously, is I think that capturing the bank's imposing size is really, really well done. It towers over the other components of Diagon Alley, which is exciting. And then as far as the kind of like whole sway of the building, I think they did a really great job of that to get that kind of presence that it actually looks like it's leaning as it does in the movie. The angled nature of it, how they were able to get it on such a good angle because the base plate sits straight on like that or straight on like this, and to have gotten such a good angle, I thought was really well done. I also would say too that I really appreciated that as you're kind of going through, and I'll show some of these other pieces later on, but even in these kind of lower sections here, right underneath the Magical Menagerie there, they had just lots of, which you can see right there, little hidden things as you were building, things to kind of discover, things to kind of have available to you. It felt very reminiscent of the old Harry Potter LEGO waves, which I really, really enjoyed that factor. I thought they did a great job with that. Like I said, building was impressive, a little tedious at times, but I think that's nature of doing any kind of detailing work like this, of the white on the outside and building something at this scale. The other thing too that I think works really well is just how grand this interior looks. So as we kind of pivot, you can see in here, we know from the scenes that ultimately that dragon is able to climb all the way up and go right through a glass top here, which, we can actually lift off the roof, get a little more light in here. Another great feature that we were able to kind of access so much. You can actually already see some of the changes I've made to the interior here, which we'll cover in just a second. But I just felt that the interior worked really well as far as feeling very grand and very open. Things that I did not care for so much. This is kind of a complaint that I've had with several sets of these new waves, but it's the kind of taking things halfway idea. So, for example, you can kind of see these columns here. They go to great pains in the actual instruction booklet to tell you that they design these column pieces, that they're all custom printed. Great. And then they only give you, I think, 10 of them, when you would ultimately need 21 to be able to fill each of the columns. And so they substitute in these kind of like non-printed versions. So the fact that they didn't give us enough to really fill that out, you can kind of see it in the back there. I'll get some more light in there. But right in the very back here, we have one chandelier, which we know from many of the scenes, there's at least 3. So again, kind of an odd choice. And then up here too, these little sconces, you can already see I've added a few of these, as well as adding this balcony here to the other side. It just feels like, you know, they've got kind of a great idea and then they kind of back off of it a little bit. So between the lanterns, the printing, the chandelier, when there could have been more, just felt like they went a little halfway on some of these things. The other thing I really didn't love was the magical menagerie here. I think the building itself is interesting to look at, but it's so tiny and you can only access it through this panel in the back right here. And you kind of have to just like rip it off, which is kind of an odd thing. But yeah, that's really the only access point that you can easily get to. Otherwise there's a bat hidden up here, but you kind of have to rip the whole roof off in order to get there. It's kind of an odd decision. But yes, I think that this building is very clearly trying to mimic the way that it's set up in Orlando, which is fine, but it has a whole other side of this building that keeps going. So while the tower's nice and things like that, it just doesn't quite do it, I think, in what it's trying to do. One other thing that I did like as far as an homage to the old set, the old Diagon Alley set for Gringotts and for Diagon Alley itself, this little advertising section here of how much an owl costs, how much a bat costs, how much a cat costs. That is a direct reference to something that I've actually gone ahead and incorporated into the front here. This little red sign is directly from the original Diagon Alley set that they did back in 2021 that had a Gringotts model, had a Ollivanders, and had Borgin and Burke's. So kind of a fun little nod there, which as a lifetime fan, I obviously really enjoyed kind of discovering those little elements like that. As far as other components go, it's really great that they were able to get so many little desks in there for each of the goblins. You know, I think the other thing too that really stood out to me is they seem to have gone out of their way to try and get us as many galleons as possible. I think I have like ultimately 6 or 7 extras, which was great. There's also a significant amount kind of peppered throughout. I also loved the detailing, which I'll just show this to you on the roof, of the shattered glass from the dragon breaking through this, and then there's even glass down on the floor. Such a fun little element there to kind of really tell that story as it relates to the scene from the 6th movie. But yeah, aside from that, I think it's a really successful build, minus those kind of like small gripes that I have with how it could have been just maybe that next level. So let's now look at these minifigures real quick. We'll start first with our little grouping of 4 here that you end up with. Harry is a bit of a disappointment in the sense that if you've got Diagon Alley, you already have him, minus a slightly different expression. I think he's just like a little more excited in this one. So kind of an odd choice to include him again. Hagrid is identical. And then of course we have these Gringotts guards who look great. They look exactly as they do with torso printing on the front and the back. They look really good. They're even their little hats. I thought they did a great job with those guys, and giving you 2 so that it can kind of fill out that lobby area makes it feel a little bit more robust. Then we've got our lineup of our remaining 4 for a total of 13 minifigures that are present here. Focusing in on the goblins here, I think they've done a really fantastic job with these goblins. In as far as their hair pieces, their ears, like it all looks really good. And then each one of these you can see has different printing for their outfits as well, which I think was a great decision, so that you got some variety there. It really feels like you've gotten a good amount. And if you end up with the advent calendar and you got the promotional set, which I'll cover in the next video, you end up with just a great amount of goblins so that you can really fill out the space. So great kind of focus there. And just for the sake of kind of showing off here, one other component too is just seeing how different the goblins used to be. You can see here, this is the goblin that came with that set back in 2011. And you can see kind of the stark difference here, that they've been able to make them look 100% more minifig-like, but also kind of, instead of going with a fully molded head, they've instead pivoted to these hair pieces that really give them the characteristics that you'd like to see. So kind of a fun little component there to see how that has evolved over time. The thing that I think was kind of strange was this random Death Eater, which I had to go and watch the interview done with the designers in order to understand what that Death Eater was, or what he was doing there. Not really sure why he's included. He's not really present in either of the scenes that this set is trying to mimic, but apparently he's there just so that you can kind of continue to build out your wizarding world. So kind of an odd choice, and really just a shame that he didn't come with a cloak, since he's got the printed cloak on it, but rather than giving him just a black cape or something, that seemed like an odd decision. So overall, my impression of this set, I really ended up liking it. I especially liked the fact that they paid homage to both ways Gringotts has been represented previously. We had the first version that comes out with the underground track system being the primary focus, and then we have the second version that comes out in 2011, where the primary focus is the street level building. This ultimate version is a combining of those two things, a definitely leveling up of both of those in every way, and ultimately I think becomes a really successful set. As they point out in the instruction booklet, you get the chance to have not only the scenes of when you enter the bank, but then the whole underground portion, where the vast majority of the action actually takes place when you're there. So that is part 2 of our fourth set on this journey. If you're interested in following along with me as I build my way through, please feel free to follow the account. And if there's anything else you think that I should be covering in these reviews, drop a comment and let me know. Thanks for watching, and have an awesome day.